Come January 30th, indoor mask requirements here in Korea will only be mandated at certain places and lifted in most other venues, including schools, places of work, as well as leisure. Rae-hyun starts us off.
South Korea's indoor mask mandate will be lifted from January 30th. The decision was made during a Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure headquarters meeting on Friday. And from that day, mask wearing inside will be recommended rather than a requirement. It will take effect following this weekend's Lunar New Year holiday, with travel and family gatherings increasing during that period. And while mask wearing will no longer be mandated at most places, including schools, movie theaters, and restaurants, they will still need to be worn at facilities like hospitals, care homes, and on public transportation. During the meeting, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo said the decision came after a number of COVID-19 requirements, including a downward trend in figures for the deaths and the critically ill, were met. He added that there's a high possibility of a temporary increase in newly confirmed cases after the holiday, as cases rose at the same point last year. The Prime Minister said vaccination is vital to protect against any such increase.
With the lifting of the indoor mask mandate, vaccination has become more important. We advise unvaccinated people above 60 and elderly people living in vulnerable areas to get inoculated as soon as possible.
The decision means South Korea will no longer be the only country out of 38 OECD nations to fully require mask wearing indoors. 16 countries, including the US, Japan, and Canada, are free from wearing masks indoors. While in other countries, mask mandates are still in place at some facilities like medical centers and on public transportation. With the introduction of the new rules, South Korea will be left with just 2 COVID-19 restrictions still being enforced: 7 days isolation for confirmed cases, as well masking up while at certain public facilities. Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says they are set to discuss reducing the number of days in isolation for those who test positive.
There have been related discussions here, and countries like Hong Kong and Japan are already having talks. Officials feel it's now time to start discussing shortening the isolation period as indoor mask mandates are lifted.
The official added they would gradually consider lifting isolation measures altogether, depending on whether the WHO decides to downgrade COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern, as well as changes to South Korea's own COVID alert level. Rae-hyun, Arirang News.